Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Who We Ooed, an unofficial Doctor Who watch along podcast. My name is Ben, and I am here with my co host Cam. How are you, Cam?
Doing wonderful. It's hot and hot.
It is.
That's basically it.
Yeah. And I'm good. I'm hanging in there. Normally we talk for like 5 to 15 minutes, depending on how much we like the episode that we're gonna talk about. I don't want to do that. I just want to jump right into it.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking. The intro portion is probably gonna be taken up by just talking about the behind the scenes stuff before we even get into our
Yes,
thoughts on the episode.
because today we are talking about Shada, which of course never came out.
What? It never came out?
So, originally, this was going to come out after the Horns of Nyman from January 19th, 1980 to February 23rd, 1980. There was a strike, which maybe we should know more. What is the strike specifically? It's not completed due to labor action at the BBC.
Yeah. So like, I listened. I watched the documentary for this one. I don't know if there was one ever made for the animated behind the scenes. I never checked the like the second the bonus feature Blu-ray on the collection set said Shada on it too, so that could have been on there. But on the DVD version of Shada, the behind the scenes for that, they talked about like how the actors, of course, they shot a big portion of it. We'll get into when we talk about the episode. And then basically what happened is they the strike happened. Then basically right by the point when it was gonna be over, the director Pennant Roberts got all the cast together, did a read through, and was like, "No, we're gonna make up time. We're gonna be basically we're gonna do this double speed. We're gonna have this thing rehearsed. We're gonna get this done." And all the actors are so on board and ready to do this to like bust out and like be able just to get this thing done because they all wanted to finish the project. Because of course, it's a Douglas Adams script. The script is great, and this is probably one of your first times doing TV. So you're like, and it's a big role like Doctor Who as an actor, if you're like a character in this, you're gonna be excited to do this story. They show up and it's like the sets weren't even like when the strike was over, the sets weren't even like being ready to be put up. It was basically a this doesn't happen type of thing. And then officially BBC put out the statement being like, we're not picking up Shada. Which of course a lot of the stuff that they did filmed some of the stuff inside. This like mainly I would say the big thing they shot inside was the professor, like the professor's room and everything with the professor basically. And then everything else they shot was basically the outside of
Around the college.
yeah, it's Cambridge. So they shot everything in Cambridge basically. We have the famous scene of the Doctor doing penting or punting, I should say, which is great. Which we have to talk about. Also that, which is insane. But yeah, it's actually very fun. We'll get into it when we talk about the episode. But it's actually very fun to see like TV movies are shot not in chronological order, so it's all shot out of order. So like it's very
Yeah,
fun to see like they shot some of the last. It's not like it's like oh yeah they only shot up to like part 1, 2, and 3. It's like no they had stuff from part 1 through 6.
yeah. They had a set. They shot all the scenes that were on that set, and I moved on. So it's all split up.
Which must have helped for when they did actually go to animate it because it's not like
We don't need to make 20 virtual sets. We need to make like three.
yeah. But anyways, before we get into the anime version, Ben, what are the other versions of Shada?
So this, because this wasn't made, they tried. I count 6 different versions of this story that has been put out throughout the years. In 1992, there was a VHS reconstruction with the footage that they filmed, linked together with scenes of Tom Baker narrating what would be happening between those scenes. Oh, and we should also mention some of this footage was also reused for the Five Doctors.
Yes, which I was going to get to when we actually get to those scenes in the story. But like that's why I mentioned previously the punting scene, of course.
Is that used in the Five Doctors?
That is literally the one when he's basically loses his balance and stuff. But it's one of the most genius things of like there's moments of this where John Nathan Turner is a genius producer. That is one of those moments where it's like we can't get Tom Baker. Well, we have this footage laying around that was never used. Let's just put that in this. So it is all Five Doctors. It's you can't do anything smarter than that, basically. for the in that particular scenario as a producer. It's like, oh, that's beautiful.
When you want all 5 doctors and you don't have one of them. So there's 5 doctors. There was with linking narration with Tom Baker. In 2003, Big Finish did a webcast as well as, like, a audio-only CD with Paul McGann as the 8th Doctor instead of Tom as the 4th. But still Lalla Ward.
Basically, what happened was Gary Russell wrote a little beginning scene where the Doctor goes to Romana. I'm not going to say where and what she's doing because that's spoilers, man. But he goes visits
I
Romana,
mean, I know, like, Gallifrey.
but he goes to see Romana, and basically he proposes to her like, "Hey, there was this thing. Remember we were in Cambridge? We were doing gonna go do something. We went to the professor for something, but why did we go to the professor?" And both of them couldn't remember. And then they asked K9, and K9 couldn't remember. So guess what, Ben? They gotta go back to the professor. And they basically just redo Shada.
I see.
But that's how they were able to do it, because of course they did go to Tom, and Tom told them at that point to go kick stocks. I said socks, go kick rocks.
Mhm.
It'd be funnier if he said go kick socks. So they did the pretty clever move of just being like, "Oh, no, all right, let's just do Paul."
Have you watched/listened slash listened to that version?
Only, like, the first that little, like, introduction thing, and then I did a little bit of the story, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, this is just Shada."
Yeah. Which maybe when we talk when we get more into the wilderness stuff, we'll do a deeper dive. There's so little.
We don't really need to, but it's
I want to though. When Shada is less fresh in my mind and we're itching for 8th Doctor,
Ben, did you do not know how much they talk to Big Finish there is? There's so much of it.
I guess we'll see.
In books, in comic books, so much Eighth Doctor.
But yeah, so and then in 2012, we got a novelization.
Oh, you're missing one.
I mean, not an official one.
But
Technically, Ian Levine
ooh.
did
You gotta give some disclaimers there, Ben, when you evoke his name. It's like Voldemort.
a animated version, which they did get, like, I think Lala Ward and John Leeson to do voices. Did they get Lala Ward?
Yeah, they got Lala Ward, and they got John Leeson. They didn't get the David or Berkeley, or however you pronounce his
Barely,
name.
but he was dead at that point. Everyone they could minus Tom. But ignoring that fan project, novelization in 2012 by Gareth Roberts also had an audiobook version narrated by Lala Ward. I don't know how different that is, but it's there. And then finally, in 2017, we got I believe it was the team that did the Power of the Daleks animation,
Yes.
uh, to do animation, linking together things, getting back all the cast.
See, that's why I was just looking up. It's like, oh, David Brinkley is dead. So then, who did they get to do K9? Because K9's in this story.
They used archive footage,
Uh,
no new lines.
and with K9, you couldn't tell.
I mean, yeah, he's a robot.
Of course, the professor was also archive footage because he would have died.
Yeah, yeah, he died as well. But he doesn't have many lines that
Oh no,
are
that
animated.
thank God, because that would have
He mostly just
been
gets
tricky.
killed,
Yeah,
and that's it. But everyone else that I got back, and this in 2017 was an omnibus version, edited together into one 2 hour and change thing, I think.
yeah.
And then on the season 17 collection set in 2021, we finally got a true episode by episode version of the story.
And the big difference I would also say is that in the omnibus version, there's a BBC One indent. So I don't know how much you're aware of this, but in BBC One, when you watch something on BBC, it's like they have like an announcer being like, "Oh, right, and coming up next, it's Doctor Who." You like, did you know about this at all?
I am unaware of this.
So they got, I think it's Toby Haddock. He's in the collection sets. He has a great podcast. Yeah, Haddock. He has a great podcast. Very big Doctor Who fan, a comedian, and actor. They got him to do like the announcer voice of just being like, and something along the lines of like, with a very extended delay on BBC One. Here is Shada. It's like something along those lines. It's like, oh, that's wonderful to include that. And of course, there's new footage shot at the end of Shada as well,
Yes, with old Tom Baker.
which is just wonderful.
Oh, yes. What does he say? I expect at some time in the future, about 200 years' time, someone will meet me and say, "Is that really the doctor? He seemed such a nice old man."
And then Tom Baker does his smile to camera. It's just oh.
Yeah. I don't know how canon that is, but it's cute. Yeah, so we watched Cam, did you watch the 2021 episodic version?
I did.
I wonder how much is different between that and the omnibus.
Well, nothing really.
And they just added the intro and outro.
Yeah.
So very interesting history. We finally have, I think, as close as is humanly possible 41 years later
They also just to point out also, they I don't know if you said this, but they used period accurate recording equipment for the animation, which is very cool.
for the animation.
Yeah, so like they recorded on the microphones and the tape recorders they would have done back in the 1970s,
Oh, interesting.
which helps because it's like, you could imagine that if you cut to like clean audio in a recording booth, it could have been a little bit weird.
Yeah, I was thankfully the majority of like the first part or two is real footage.
Yeah.
At first, the animation was a little bit jarring, but I quickly got used to it and
Yeah.
it worked.
It helps
Even when
again
it's back and forth.
it helps again that it's like, no, when we add a location, we're gonna stay in that location because they shot everything at that location.
Yeah. There are definitely moments where I can tell Tom is 40 years older.
Yeah. But there's also sometimes where he's doing a pretty good job as
Yeah.
still playing the Doctor all these
I
years
think
later.
Lala Ward definitely had a noticeably more so than Tom aged voice.
So that's just male versus female voices.
But like Chris and Claire were like the same.
Yeah. But also you're not as familiar with their voices.
True. Skagra, I suppose, was a little bit deeper, but I also think that kind of worked for his performance,
Yeah.
having it be more kind of deeper and booming, and so that kind of worked out.
I also like I don't know about you, but like it was pretty interesting to watching you and just being like, it takes a while for that first animation to pop up in part one. It's like I think 75% through the story
Yeah.
that we had that like the first shot is I think the character name is Christopher, right? Am I getting that?
Oh, yeah, he's like biking to hit the lab
To his lab and like
with the book.
it's like it's kind of like jarring at first, like you said, I was just like, oh, it's animated and like it's really big movements that like they did not do that and the other animations that I've watched.
Yeah, we see more of like their legs, and they're like really, they're very animated.
Yeah. Which is like this is probably the best out of the animations. I haven't seen all of them, but I think you probably could say this is the best one just because it's like they have a little bit more freedom with this. They're not constrained to like constricted to being like we have to recreate this thing.
One kind of downside I did not like with the animation. So we're in the US. The US Blu-rays are interpolated to 30 frames per second,
Yeah.
which for live action, it usually looks pretty much the same. That's fine. But when it's a 24 frames per second animation or 25, I don't know which they would have done. I thought the interpolation was much more noticeable for the animated segments,
I agree,
and it kind of looked more stilted than it had to be.
but also part of me is also thinking, is that also partly because they did this for the like it's not high res animation. I don't know if they even mastered this in 1080p because it's pretty low res. So like part of me is thinking, is that a resolution issue as well for some of it?
Well, the problem I'm referring to is definitely the frame rate interpolation, but
Yeah.
there's definitely some aliasing artifacts.
Yeah. It's the combination of the two.
Probably not 1080p.
Well, I think it's just because it was really made for the DVD, right? Because they made it on DVD first. We didn't get it on Blu-ray for a pretty while. I think until the
When
collection's
even
out.
when it came out in
In at least
2017?
US. Yeah, in US, it was only DVD, which is why honestly, I which is why I didn't really watch it at first because I didn't wanna watch it on DVD. I was thinking, "Oh, that's gonna come out on Blu-ray at some point," and it never did, at least in the United States.
Well, should we talk about the contents of the episode itself?
Yes, Ben.
So, Cam, what did you think of Shada?
So again, this is my I got it on DVD before. They did a box set at some not box set, but it's like a DVD collection set of like animated Doctor Who. Yeah, it's 7 stories on there. So it was like for $10, it had Dreamland, Infinity Quest, Power of the Daleks, Stream of the Shaka, and Shada. But the problem, Ben, the problem that I saw is there's 2 discs for all of that stuff. So I think the quality of it is even worse than a standard DVD. It
2 DVDs for all that animation? It's probably very compressed.
looks awful. So I didn't watch a lot of it. I got, I think, to like that. I got to like the first animated sequence, and I was like, "Oh, this looks rough," and
That's a shame.
I turned it off.
'Cause some of the live action stuff, I think, looks really good.
Oh yeah. So this was my really first time watching it in full, and I very much enjoyed it, Ben. It's Shada. It's got everyone loves Shada, and I understand why everyone loves Shada. It's definitely not as good as City of Death, but what is?
What is?
Some parts of that hurts it is just some just basic facts of it being a six-parter. If this was a four-parter, it would probably be just as good as City of Death, but because it is a six-parter, there's a little bit more time that needs to be spent just not being aimless, but, like, I think there's some parts in the middle on, the ship of Skagra that I'm just like, "Is this needed fully?"
Probably, it could be trimmed. But I think this is easily the best six-parter since Talons of Wing Chiang.
Oh, but Ben, that's not a competition. When the competition is Armageddon Factor in Invasion of Time,
Yeah.
it's like there's not a lot of competition. But no, I agree. It's definitely the best one, best six powder of the Graham Williams era.
I think to just insert my 2 cents really quick, I think it's definitely easily one of the best period of his era,
Yeah, oh yeah,
like top 5.
yeah. Which again, I think we've been pretty vocal on this podcast that we have big fans of his era.
Yeah.
So it's not shocking. But I will say that like I enjoyed it. The most I enjoyed of the story, which again helps probably because we have majority of it on film. It's the stuff in Cambridge. At the beginning, those first two parts, it's just wonderful.
The vibes, Cam.
Like the beginning sequence, of course, where that was reused in the Five Doctors of him doing the punting is just a great scene, and one of those scenes that we talked about in City of Death of just like, oh no, you can tell the chemistry there is just off the chart between Lala Ward and Tom Baker. And again, makes total sense why John Nathan Turner would pick that scene in particular to be used for the Five Doctors. And also, like, I don't know how much you're aware of this, but Douglas Adams went to Cambridge, so there's that nostalgia factor from the writer of like punting and the choir boys. I would imagine there would have been something like that character that was like I don't know what you would even call him. Who was that guy that was just kind of like the guy out on the lawn that was like that recognized the doctor? He was kind of like the caretaker in a way of the school.
Wilkin, a porter of St. Sed's College.
That scene was wonderful as well.
Oh, yes.
Of just him just being like, "Oh yeah, I recognize you from when you were here 58, 55, and oh, you didn't recognize me when I came back here in 65." Well, that makes sense because I was in a different face, and just like Tom Baker just saying a line like that that's so alien is just works flawlessly. Chef's kiss, Ben. And of course, then we get to all the stuff with the doctor and the professor and Romana. All that stuff is just great. Just great Douglas Adams back and forth dialogue, quippy dialogue with just jokes a minute. But yeah, all that stuff was my favorite stuff of the story. And also just Chris with the book and realizing what the fuck is this book? Why is it doing all these crazy things and doing all the experiments on it while Doctor and Romana and the professor's all like, where the hell is this book? It's very fun, man.
So fun. I would agree. I think like the first 2-ish parts are easily the highlight, but yeah, the dialogue's great. I think all of the characters are very interesting
Yeah.
and enjoyable to watch.
I would say nothing the characters aren't as strong as City of Death. Like Duggan and the Countess and Count Scaglione. There's nothing quite like that in this story.
Yeah.
But there's all solid and they're all way more memorable than any characters that we have in the rest of seasons 16 and 17.
Yeah. Like there's a world where Chris and Claire are completely ignorable, but I think they both are a good addition to this story.
Yes. And the professor as well.
And the professor, really like the professor. Very different from previous Time Lords we've seen, except for maybe a little bit of Compo
Yeah.
from Planet of the Spiders. Very mysterious. Good twist that he's actually Salyaven.
Yeah, but and it's honestly, I just find it cool of just seeing what a Time Lord does when they retire. That's just a great pitch for an intro to like a character, a Time Lord, of just being like, no, he's a retired Time Lord. I also love the idea of a retired Time Lord being a professor at a university, which of course Stephen Moffat just stole for the Doctor at some point for Peter Capaldi's Doctor. But it kind of fits that the Time Lord would just be like a man of just studying like at a university. And like I love how also like the Britishness of just like he always is asking people for if they want tea.
He's trying to fit in. He knows the Brits, they like tea. Yeah, really great supporting character.
A wonderful character.
Yeah.
I wish we got more of him in the story. It's a shame that like he pops up again at like part 5 or part 4.
Yeah, when the TARDIS revives him, which I don't think has been said before now, but I think this is the first time, maybe I'm wrong, that it's mentioned that a Time Lord ran out of regenerations. This was his final regeneration.
That's mentioned in Deadly Assassin. That's when I set up they only have 13 regenerations.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But yeah, he's somehow revived because his TARDIS, which is real quick, what do you think of the design of his TARDIS?
Oh, it's wonderful. I
Just
love
a door.
I wish that the TARDIS was more there was more other TARDISes like that where it's like, nah, it's literally it's just like it's just a room and the control panel is like a cupboard. Like that's great.
Yeah, and the outside is just a door.
But like just having the chameleon circuit be also on the inside is a very fun thing. I wish the show did more of.
What do you mean by that?
Like I assume it's the chameleon circuit. That's doing it on the outside is also doing it in the inside to make it replicate what's looking like on the outside on the inside.
Oh, maybe. I guess I would have to.
Yeah.
You don't probably don't want a room that's bigger on the inside. Needs to fit within the confines of the walls of his windows work too. I'm just thinking about that now. He can see outside. I mean, I guess it could just be scanners on the walls.
The chameleon circuit's very good then.
I guess I don't know what a fully functioning chameleon circuit
Yeah,
truly
because I
looks
guess like
like.
the doctor can see out of the TARDIS window, like like in the new series, the doors on the new series is actually the TARDIS door is like the police box doors, and you can see out those windows.
Yeah, in the classic series, it's very inconsistent for uh the continuity between the police box doors and the internal TARDIS
Oh yeah,
doors.
especially on like the '60s version where the doors are like massive.
Where sometimes I think there are some times where they swing open, you can see when you're standing inside, you can
Yeah,
see the blue police box on the doors. And there's some times where it's just roundels and only looks like a police box once you step out the door.
yeah.
Very inconsistent. I'll take your word for it that at some point the TARDIS windows are functional.
Oh, yeah, that's just the new series. Jody's has like the also has like the side boxes, which I don't like personally. I think that's a little bit too far.
Don't know what you're referring to, but that's okay.
You we'll get there in a couple years from now.
So excited for Jodie.
But
I forget. Do you like Jodie? Or you say you like Jodie, but you don't like the story she's in.
yeah, there's not really like a lot of it's just kind of like bland. It's kind of like the Graham Williams era, where a lot of it's just like they're not my it's not my cup of tea, not my Doctor Who. Just
Like Tom is still great, but everything around him is severely lacking.
it's not bad. It's just dull.
Yeah. So Cam,
Yes,
what did you think of Skagra?
very great. I enjoyed him as a villain. It's another example, like we've talked about a lot this episode, of what the rest of season 17 is kind of missing, except for City of Death, which is a threatening villain and a villain that has stakes. And that you're like, oh my god, how are the Doctor and Romana gonna solve this one and get out of this situation?
Yeah.
Where like the bad guy, like the Creature from the Pit of Nightmare, even don't even have any villains like that.
Yeah, I think he's powerful. He's got a presence more so than any villain we've had in a while. Does a really
Since Scalioni.
Yeah, since him. It's kind of a shame so much of, Skagra is animated. So much of his great stuff is on Chada and on his ship and in the TARDIS, and we don't have any of that.
Yeah.
We just have the stuff with him in Cambridge.
But he does a great job doing the
But
voice.
even with the animation, I think he did a great job. Like I said earlier, you can tell he's aged. He has a little bit of a deeper voice, but I think it all honestly kind of fits.
Yeah.
So really great villain. What about the I don't even know how you pronounce it. The Krarg? Crag?
They were fine. Very much generic Doctor Who,
Yeah.
just muscle.
You could swap him out for
The
anything. A
Ogrons.
Yeti, an Ogron, and nothing would
God,
change.
imagine if he had Ogrons as his muscle.
That would have been good. What do you think of K9 here?
I laugh every single time you ask me that question because I'm like, I don't know. K9 is kind of just in the story. I don't. There's nothing really that memorable about K9. Did you find anything memorable?
Kind of like always, he's mostly a gun. The doctor can't have a gun, so we need someone to have a gun. I did like there's some moments in part 3 prior to them boarding the ship where K9 can see the ship and no one else can. There's some good humor there. Um but yeah, I'm glad John Leeson's going to be back next story
Let's go.
and now K9 will be good again.
And K9 and Company, dude, right around the corner.
So hyped. What else? Was anything to talk about before we talk about like special effects and do that whole list?
Like you said, Chris is a good like little side character along with Claire. They're both good.
Yeah.
Shout out. Before that, also, I just want to give a shout out to Kef McClure and Mark Ayres, who did the music for this. I thought they did a great job of
Oh yeah.
replicating the Dudley Simpson sound.
Before, we talked about in Horns of Nyman that Dudley Simpson, that was his last one. I thought he did the soundtrack for Shada because I couldn't tell the difference. I thought it was very good. Little bit derivative of City of Death.
Oh, 1000%. They're just doing the do 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 do, but
I mean, it was still really good and it fits, it works.
it's just instead they're doing like da 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 da. Like it's something like that where it's just like very much. If it wasn't still Doctor Who, it would be kind of like, this kind of you're getting close to copyright.
Yeah.
But even the stuff that's not just the main theme of Shadow that they came up with, it still sounds very much like a Dudley Simpson score.
Yeah, really good. So talking about special effects, I wasn't sure how much would none of it have been done then and all of it have been done now or in 2017
I don't know because I think the ball, the sphere ball thing, definitely looked.
old and like there was models that they used.
The models I would imagine would be like today, but I feel like that sphere special effects in part two when it's the doctor's getting chased on the bicycle, that stuff looked like it would have in 1980. So even if it isn't,
They either did a really good job emulating it or they did it then.
yeah. So shout out to whoever did that. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say best and worst special effects just because if half of it's animated, then
Yeah. Stuff that wasn't animated, I thought the sphere chasing looked not bad.
yeah.
When it actually gets stuck on people's heads, that it looks less good, but having it floating around was good.
But when it gets stuck on people's heads, it has a charm to it.
Yeah, I suppose. One scene that kind of stood out to me when the doctor is crossing over from the professor's TARDIS to his TARDIS. He's like there's like a bridge of light and he's crawling and then it goes out and he's falling. I thought like the doctor falling through the vortex looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
You have any to mention? No.
No, nothing per se. Nothing really stood out to me except for the sphere, especially the chase sequence.
Yeah, is it part 2?
Yeah, that's part two.
That was good. So other than the obvious thing of they needed to finish it, what does the story need to elevate it
I think the story would be better if it was a four-parter.
if they shortened it? Yeah.
That might be a hot take, but, like, I think this would be like it's still a great story, but it would be on par with like a City of Death if it was a Potter. It was tight.
You miss, I think, some of the grandeur of the six-parter finale if you do that, though.
Yeah, but of course this is the last six Potter.
This has a big scale to it
Yeah,
that a lot of the other six-parters did. This is a end of the universe scenario.
not like the Armageddon factor.
Yeah. I mean, Invasion of Time and Armageddon Factor, have a scope to them. There are stakes.
Yeah.
It's just the actual plot is less good. Do you know what kind of impact does the story have on the future of Doctor Who?
Well, it's just it's the myth. It's the myth of Shada. I imagine at some point in like the expanded media they reference Shada being a prison planet,
Probably.
but I don't think it ever mentioned again in the show at least. Which is a shame. I feel like you could have tied that back into the show.
No, no show. There's some audio, some comics. Professor Chronotis is in Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, as well as some other things from Shada, uh, ideas that he liked that didn't get realized, got put into Dirk Gently, which makes me want to read it. I should read it. Otherwise, cliffhangers. Number one, Skagra makes a menacing speech, and we see our first glimpse of a Krarg, whatever it is.
Mm.
Two, a doctor is backed into a corner, back of an alleyway, trapped under a fence, about to be attacked by the sphere.
That would be probably one of my favorites ones. It's either this one or the next one.
I would say this one. Three is Skagra's ship. AI cuts off the oxygen because, of course, the doctor's dead. He doesn't need oxygen. And the doctor falls to the ground, suffocating, which I feel like the doctor should not suffocate because he doesn't need as much oxygen. He can put himself in a trance and be fine for quite a while, as shown many times, such as the Space Pirates and Terror of the Zygons. Four, the Doctor is attacked by a red hot Krarg.
Ah.
Oh no. And five, the Doctor is backed into a corner by a bunch of mind controlled Shada inmates.
Ooh.
So if you had two or three, what do you say?
I would say two.
I would agree. So Cam, how would you rate Shada?
I'm probably gonna be a little bit lower than you. This could go up in the future, but I think I'm just gonna give it an 8.7. You know? I enjoyed Shada. I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorites. It's not like in that 9 category for me, at least.
Yeah, I think a high 8, placing it firmly at the top of anything that Graham Williams has done. I'm noticing this puts it on par with Horror of Fang Rock.
Yeah, that's about fair. That's about right. That's fair for me. I don't think it's as good as like Talons of Wang Chiang or Robo Death.
Yeah, I like it better than Sunmakers. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's like a 8. I'm even gonna go 8.9, I think,
Wow.
for an average of 8.8. And normally this is when we would talk about what Doctor Who magazine readers, how they rank this story. However, this story never came out, so it is not on the list. What we can do, there is a website called The Timescales, which has reviews and ratings for every single Doctor Who story in any medium that has ever come out. And they give it average rating of 8.3 based on 140 votes. We can also look on Letterboxd, which ranks the 2017 omnibus release at an average of 3.6 stars, which is the equivalent of 7.7.
Hmm.
So we seem to maybe even like it a little more than average.
Good job, Dougie Adams.
Good old Dougie. So, we talked at the end of Horns of Nyman about a little bit of our thoughts of season 17 and the Graham Williams era as a whole. I don't think we need to repeat that here per se. So, if you're interested, last little bit of that episode you can look at. That'll do it for today's episode. Be sure to tune in next week for the start of season 18.
No, no, you might get top 10 of the 70s next week.
Yeah.
Or you're either gonna get one of the two.
But barring that, which I'm thinking is going to be a bonus episode, the next episode will be The Leisure Hive.
On to John Nathan Turner, JNT.
Real quick, Cam, remind me, what have you seen from season 18?
Only Leisure Hive.
Did you like Leisure Hive?
I did.
That is promising then, because I look on Letterbox and I see that those first 2 are not high.
Also, the put in perspective though, Leisure Hive was I got the season 18 Blu-ray and just popped it on, and I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't know how it's gonna fare from when we watched 50 plus Doctor Who in the past couple of weeks, and now it's like, oh shit, now I hear the Doctor Who for this week. Oh, it's just the same thing as the week before and the week before.
Yeah, like we've talked about before. This weekly binge gives us a different mindset than, you know what? I want to watch a classic Doctor Who episode. Let me put something on. We have to watch everything in order. There's some fatigue that can set in.
So who knows? I'm hoping I'm gonna enjoy it.
But I'm gonna go in with an open mind for Leisure Hive and season 18 with the Doctor's slightly less iconic Scarlet outfit, Crimson, whatever you want to call it. Some companion shakeups and his eventual departure.
Okay.
So tune in next week for Leisure Hive. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Peace out, everyone.